I'm Clay Lewis, and this is Ground Zero Behind the Scenes. Today, we are going to replay parts of the interview we did with Angelique Doudnikova, who was the estranged lover of Maximilien de Lafayette. Now, I got to warn you, this show is pretty bizarre, especially when she unloads all of these feelings she has. Much of it is an axe that she's grinding against Maximilien, but she has revealed a few things as to what happened the night Maximilien de Lafayette was abruptly taken off the air from my program. She states that he was being followed by the CIA, the NSA, that he has an ex-wife that was an ex-NSA or Black Ops. It's not too clear what. But as you can hear, she begins to unravel and deteriorate on the program. I called her after the show and I asked her what was wrong, and she said that she took something to calm down, but what it did is it actually opened her up and had her say more than we had bargained for. I had to cancel the interview, stop the interview, because I didn't want her to be on the air being exploitive. And so what you're going to get now are bits and pieces of that interview.
I want you to introduce yourself a little bit to the audience. Who are you?
Who am I? Let me see. I'm an actor. I do voiceovers, plays, TV, commercials, you name it. I'm a performance artist. Basically, I've been on since I was born.
So what TV shows would we see you in if we were to watch you on television?
Law and Order, SVU, Criminal Intent, The Wire, Oz, Sex and City, let me see, Dave Chappelle, The Chappelle Show. I did 3 plays for the radio drama plays for the BBC. I'd have to send you my resume. When I was with Max, I was writing and editing. God knows he put me to work. He actually showed me how much it is I was actually capable of doing if I put my mind to it.
So you used to work for him?
I edited 10 books with him. Yeah.
You edited 10 books for him?
I didn't just work for him. I lived with him.
You lived with him?
Yes.
Were you his lover?
Well, let me see. Obviously, for sleeping in the same bed, I think so.
Okay, so you were his lover, you were his worker, you worked for him. And how long were you with him?
Most of 2010, from January when I first actually met him in person till October.
And where did you meet him, and how did you meet him?
Okay, here's the deal. I first saw him on UFO Hunters. It's a show I've always been exploring the paranormal, extraterrestrials. I know we're not the only ones here. It's just not possible. It's just, even if you use Drake's equation, we are not alone here in the universe. Come on. We're not even alone here in the solar system. So when I saw him on the show, because I do voiceovers, and here's what I was trained to do in class. You close your eyes, you put your head down, and you listen. And I was trying to listen to this guy's accent, and I was trying to figure out his accent, and I was mystified. I'm like, there's something off. There's something really mysterious about this. So I saw the first episode on UFO Hunters with Maxie by the East River. Then I saw the second episode, and I thought, I have got to find out more about this person. Here's where this is my flaw. I become a relentless pit bull once I latch my teeth onto something. I have to find out. I'm going to get down to the very bottom, I'm going to grind all the way down to the skull and bones of it. And so, of course, in the process, I got crucified. But here's the story I have to tell. And I'm telling this story for everyone, just so that everybody knows exactly what is going on right now. I was at this thing in Brooklyn with Daniel Pinchbeck, Richard Dolan, Bill Burns, and this other writer. They were chairing. It was a panel. And basically, during the break, I called Bill aside, and I asked him stuff about Maximilien. How did he know him? How did he have him on the show? He tells me, face to face, you can call Bill on this. Bill knows exactly who I am, okay? This is June of 2010. And I said, how did you get to know Maximilien de Lafayette? He said, well, a producer told me about him. They had read his book, Undersea UFOs, and they recommended they have him on the show. I get in touch with him. I started buying his books. I bought 15 of them. Then I start emailing him. Then he starts calling me. I emailed him with my phone number. He starts calling me. He had Maximilien at the time, 2009, had a Facebook page, which he said got taken down by the base where he was living at the time because he was under supervised habitation.
Okay, now wait a minute. He was living where?
He was living downtown, somewhere south of 1st and 16th Street.
But they said that he was under what? Now he was under some sort of a habitation?
Supervised habitation. Yes, supervised living, yes.
Why was he under supervised
custody,
living?
if you will.
Why was he under supervised living?
Okay. Maximilian was married. He was living in Washington, D.C. and Georgetown before. He was married to this lady who was deep cover, and they had a very, very bitter divorce. I got a lot of stories out of him about her when he was drunk.
So you're talking, okay, deep. You're talking deep cover. What do you mean deep cover?
Meaning covert, meaning black, like under black, deep black.
Deep black ops.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
according to him, what he was saying about her, he said she says I'd never seen a woman like this before. She says she was driving a Jeep. I said, what do you mean? She says she was driving a Jeep and she had these boots on. And I'm like, oh, really? So then he says, I'd never met a woman who commanded a Jeep like that wearing boots.
So she was a deep ops woman, worked for how many alphabet agencies? Did she work for did she work for alphabet agencies or was she military?
I would think alphabet agencies.
Okay, so the CIA, NSA.
Yes.
NSA, CIA.
Now, supposedly we were involved. We actually created skirmishes in the Balkans and the Yugoslavian war between the Bosnians and the Serbs.
So that's the information that he gave you because of the information he got from her?
Well, yeah.
So you were saying that when you met him after he did the UFO Hunters show, you got to know him, and then you found out that he was under some sort of
Yes. Actually, you know something? He was still living on the base at the time. He didn't have his own apartment because when I moved in with him was the first time he actually had a lease.
Which base was he living on?
Street, Chelsea Course.
Okay.
We lived right above the brown awning, apartment 2A.
Okay.
Okay.
And he was under some sort of
Yes.
He couldn't leave.
Yeah, no, there were two guys living above us. I mean, you should have seen them puking on the awning. It was awful.
Well, it was just a gross place to live.
Only because I knew I was under surveillance. The apartment was bugged.
Okay, so
the apartment
was bugged.
Yes.
Okay, why was who was bugging the apartment, and for what reason were they bugging the apartment?
They had just released him because his ex-wife, after a bitter divorce, he started blabbing. Then I have sources from Interpol who tell me like he was actually trying to extort money from the what's it called? Alphabet. What did you call them? Alphabet label agency?
Well, the alphabet agency, CIA, NSA.
Yeah.
So it's surveillance. They were doing some sort of surveillance, right?
Surveillance, yes. 24 hours, 24/7.
And so you were listening in on what the surveillance guys were listening to, or?
No, but when I would turn on speakers, clearly I was also listening in on them. And anytime he would get so mad at me, when he would wake up, I could only do this when he was sleeping. If he was so loud, he would wake up and he would shut them off immediately. I thought I told you not to do that.
So you were actually listening in. They were doing this two back and forth thing where they could listen in on you both, and then you could hear them too.
Yes, and apparently there was a bug in the kitchen, under the bed, in the bedroom where we were, and also Colonel Zach, let him know that I'm saying this right now, sent a zebra rug with a pink border stripe, military rug with a bug in it. He withheld from anything. Wow, a human-alien hybrid? You know, I've never met a guy who could ever possibly say he was only 90% human and 10% Anunnaki.
So he said that he was a hybrid to you. He admitted to you that he was a hybrid, some sort of a...
Lafayette told me he was 10% Anunnaki.
10% Anunnaki.
His mother is Rahmaniye. Listen to this. Rahmaniye, who lives in a mahad, and she has no vagine. I'm like, what do you mean she has no vagine? She has no vagina? He says, no, she has no vagina. He says, I was carried inside of her for 6 months, and then I was transferred to a light box for the other 3 months. So I'm like, okay.
Are you're not making this up, are you?
No, I could not possibly make this up if I tried.
He
Nobody has ever told me he came out of a woman.
So okay, Angelique, stop. Okay, we gotta digest this for 1 second. Okay.
No, this is really what happened.
Okay. Well, let's okay. First of all, let's take a deep breath here, and let's go back. Let's go back to this whole thing about him being a hybrid.
Yes, he told me it was 10% Anunnaki.
Did you believe that he was a hybrid?
How are those specifics even possible?
Did you believe it?
He said,
did you believe it?
Did I believe it?
Could he be?
At the time, I did not know what to believe. Oh, then the next thing, he needs a heart transplant. All of a sudden, he's telling me, oh, here's what happens. Because due to plagiarism, he was plagiarizing a lot of other people's work in his publishing. His Amazon publishing account got shut down by Genevieve Cushing. Genevieve Cushing from CreateSpace. If you're a self-publisher, if you publish books, if you write books, you have to work with Amazon's sister arm, which is called CreateSpace. So CreateSpace Publishing, Genevieve Cushing, she's the executive, she shut him down due to plagiarism. And I have to commend John Ratcliffe for spearheading this above all else. And I got
okay. Now I want to stop with the plagiarism thing. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. What I want right now, we're going to go to a break. But what I want right now is I want you to go on the record for me.
Is Benny true? Is Germaine Poitier?
One moment. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to ask you this question: how much of what he says, how much of the information he gives, is correct? How much, if you were to put a percentage on it?
I'd say 50.
So half of it's bad and half of it's good. We just have to decide.
50, yeah.
50%.
Something, I gave him Ugaritic, I gave him Babylonian, I gave him Phoenician scripts. He never once translated a single thing for me in front of me.
When it's off or fraudulent or whatever, when you're referring to that, are you meaning that he plagiarized it, stole it, or is he just making it up?
Yeah, the first time he plagiarized. This went on for a couple of years, apparently. So Genevieve Cushing from CreateSpace canceled his account due to fraudulent publishing February 2010. I was the punching bag for all of that. I was the punching bag. He said, you and John Ratcliffe and Janet, I forget what her last name was, and this one, you guys all closed my account.
It devastated him financially?
Oh, big time. All of a sudden now he's having heart attacks in the apartment. He needs a new heart. He needs a new heart. He's on a heart list, waiting on a heart donor list from the VA in Walter Reed. Truthful Benny is Benny True, is Germaine Poitier, is Carol Lexter, is Shoshana Rosenstein, and a host of other characters. It's all Maximilian de Lafayette. Or at least that's the name he has on his driver's license, because he has never once shown me a birth certificate or a passport.
Like Sidney Poitier, Germaine Poitier. So I decided to check to see who Germaine Poitier was, and it was, like you said, it was Maximilian de Lafayette. It was a pseudonym. It was his nom de plume.
Exactly.
Does he have any other nom de plumes?
What?
Does he have any nom de plumes other than, what are the other ones? There's Germaine Poitier, there's Truefold Benny.
Lexter,
Who?
Truefold Benny, Benny True.
Mm-hmm.
Carol, Carol Lexter, Lexter.
Okay.
God knows who the other ones could be.
Well, is his real name Maximilian de Lafayette, or is it a pseudonym?
No. He told me so at the dining room table. We were having lunch. I just made a steak tartare, and this is how I get him. After I get him, we've been drinking, and he's had 6 packs. Six is the perfect number. 6 or more, boom, then the truth just starts spilling out.
So where did he get his name? Where did he get his name?
He says, he told me, love, he says, this name I'm using right now from Père Lachaise. He said, I said, so what? He says, Maximilien de Lafayette is a soldier. He died World War I. He was 17 years old. He died in World War I. He got it off of a tombstone in Père Lachaise.
Père Lachaise, that's the cemetery where Jim Morrison was buried.
Exactly. From the Doors, exactly. Because he died in Paris, age 27. He died in the bathtub. He was buried there. So he's telling me he got it off of a tombstone somewhere in Père Lachaise in Paris.